Hi, I'm Jennifer, and this is TV Talk. It's Tuesday, so that means it's Star Wars Day. And this week's episode was Rising Malevolence, the first part in a three-part epic adventure within the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show. In this episode, the Grand Army of the Republic is searching for a new war machine of the separatists. The only problem is they have no idea exactly what it is they're looking for, as there have been no survivors in any of the attacks. Jedi Master Plo Koon and his troop of clone troopers, or unit of clone troopers, the Wolf Pack, and I do not know their exact number, are sent to try and find this weapon, and are attacked. They manage to get a brief message out, but then it's cut silent. But then it's cut silent, and they're unable, and the Republic is unable to trace them. Anakin Skywalker's young apprentice, Ahsoka Tano, insists on going out to look for Master Plo and his clones, but the Jedi Order doesn't think it's a good idea, as there hasn't been a single survivor up to this day, as I've mentioned before. But Anakin, understanding how Ahsoka feels, decides to obey the Jedi Order, the Jedi Council, but still do what Ahsoka wants. And they are able to find Master Plo and the few remaining members of the Wolf Pack, among them Wolf, and learn what this new weapon is. Now, this episode is personally one of my personal favorites. It is, as I said, it is the start of a three episode arc, which I call the Malevolence arc because Malevolence is in all three titles. I don't know if that was the official name of the arc or not, but that's what I call it. And in this episode, we are reintroduced to Jedi Master Plo Koon, who is voiced by James Arnold. And I say reintroduced because he was in Attack of the Clones, and I believe he was also in Phantom Menace, and also the Clone Wars movie. I'm not 100% sure about the last two, but I know for a fact he was in Attack of the Clones. We just didn't know his name up to this point. And we're also introduced to Wolf, who as a clone is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. And this is also the first time since the Clone Wars movie that we see Ahsoka, who, if you haven't seen my movie talk video on Star Wars The Clone Wars, she is voiced by Ashley Eccleston, I believe is how you say her last name. And it is also the first time since the Clone Wars movie that we see Anakin, who is voiced by Matt Lanter. And just so you know, James Arnold also does the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi in this series. What I also like about this episode primarily is that we learn a scoochie bit about Ahsoka's past prior to when she became Anakin's apprentice. When Anakin asks her about her relationship with Master Plo, who is a Jedi Master, which means he has trained an apprentice to the point of becoming a Jedi Knight, or to the point of taking the trials. I don't know if they have to just train to the point of a Padawan to the point of a trial, to the trials to become a Jedi Knight, or if the Padawan has to actually become a Jedi Knight for the teacher to become a known as a Jedi Master. That I'd have to actually look up. I'm not 100% sure. But he is a Jedi Master as he does sit. But Plo Koon is a Jedi Master as he does sit on the Council, and only Masters are allowed to do so. But I'm digressing. Well, anyways, when Anakin asks Ahsoka about her relationship with Master Plo, she says that he found her and brought her to the temple, and that he is one of her oldest friends. Another thing I liked about this episode is that Master Plo, much like in Ambush with Yoda, shows compassion for the clones. He seemed to mourn the passing of the clones that were killed in the initial attack and then that were killed by the battle droids following the attack. We're also introduced to General Grievous in this episode, and I do not know who voiced him. I will look that up for the next episode that he's in, which I believe is the next episode. And General Grievous, for those of you who have not seen Clone Wars or Revenge of the Sith, he is the cyborg general in charge of a cyborg general of the separatist army. He is basically Count Dooku's right-hand man. Like, it goes Count Dooku and then General Grievous and Asajj Ventress are like dead even with each other. Is kind of how they portray it, and how I kind of picked up on it from this series, as they both seem to have similar power and command and respect within the separatist army, and they don't really like each other because I think they're both kind of like dead even in rank, and they don't like that. But anyways, so that's one of the things I like about this episode. And another thing that it's one that always makes me laugh, and it's at the end of this episode, and it's when they're going to talk to the council after they rescue Master Plo and the 3 surviving clones, and Anakin basically praises Ahsoka for sticking to her intuition and whatnot. And then he says, and this, what he says next always makes me laugh. And he's like, but if I'm going to get in trouble with the council, you're going to share in the blame. Which basically, that goes more to the relationship between Ahsoka and Anakin than anything. It's like, they had a lot of the masters and apprentices had like a parent-child relationship where the master took on the role of like the mom or the dad, and then or the mom and the dad that the Padawan never knew, and then the Padawan is kind of like the kid that the master could never have. So they have that relationship, and there is that age difference where it does make sense where it would be more like that. But Anakin and Ahsoka, as you watch the series progress, their relationship is really more like a big brother, little sister relationship. She does not respect him as she would a father. She respects him more as she would a big brother. She jokes with him. She has a nickname for him. She calls him Sky Guy more than she calls him Anakin or Master Skywalker. And he does the same with her. He has a nickname for her. He calls her Snips, as to her snippy attitude as when they first met, which does get tamed somewhat down the lines. As she matures, you see the snippiness kind of come out of her, which is, true. You gotta remember at this point she's 14. She's in her second year as a teenager, and she's got that teenage attitude. Anyways, and so they have more of the brother-sister bond, as they are relatively not that far apart in age. Let's see, Anakin in Attack of the Clones was 19, and this is 6 months to 2 years later. So he's anywhere from 19 and a half to 21 in this episode in Clone Wars. And she's 14. So there's really only a 5 to 7 year age difference between them. 5.5 to 7 year age difference between the two of them. So they do have more of the brother-sister relationship, because they are, in retrospect, very close in age. Like I said, there's really only 4.5 or 5.5, 4.5 to 7 year age difference between them. Where, like, with, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, Obi-Wan wasn't that much older than Anakin when he became, Anakin's apprentice at the end of Phantom Menace. True, but you gotta remember, Anakin was 9 at that time period, so, you know, there was a 10-year age difference, which is quite a bit. Not that much between them. And it just, you see the relationship between Ahsoka and Anakin, particularly in the episodes that they're in together, really grow. And I will touch more on this later, as it appears in later episodes. So Anakin, she sees more as the older brother, where Obi-Wan and Master Plo are more like her father figures. Obi-Wan more so, because we do see her interact with Obi-Wan a little bit more than we see her interact with Plo Koon. So I'm going to wrap this up, because So those were a couple of things I liked about Shadow Malevolence, or Rise of Malevolence, excuse me. Like I said, this is the first part of a 3-part arc. So I will touch more on what's going on with the Malevolence and this new separatist war machine in next week's episode, which I believe is entitled Shadow Malevolence, which is why I said that in like 2 minutes ago, because I had my episodes crossed. So I will see you then. I'm Jennifer. Thank you for watching TV Talk. And before I sign off, I would like to say I would like to just say a couple of things. First off, please like and subscribe, as that helps me out a lot. I'm up to 3 subscribers right now. Also, feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. That also helps me out. And feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The information will be in the description part of this. Oh, will be in the description. So once again, I'm Jennifer. This has been TV Talk, and I will see you next time.